Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. This is actually the wrong week. I was just looking at this. This is this past week. This is where we should be planning. We're planning from May 15th through the 21st. And yeah, I will go back over this last week, but usually I have it open to this. So anyway, I'm hoping, I got some really great feedback from you guys from last time, and it helped a whole bunch. I think it's a combination of using this planner and some business planning and just kind of seeing how it's used. Now, I'm not using this for my regular everyday. I find it really beautiful to see being used as like an everyday planner where you have all your appointments on here. So maybe next year I'll do that. But right now, the function of this one is just business planning. And it's working, so when I go back to look at this, it looks very empty. A lot of my business stuff right now is admin related. I haven't even spun back up my social media stuff. When I do that, it does get very, very busy. It gets very busy. So, having this, I just want to have this kind of baseline so that I can always add things to it, but it's harder to subtract. It really is. It's like anything, whether you're decluttering, whether you're building out ideas, it's really hard to subtract because it's saying goodbye to things that you love. But if you start out keeping it really, really simple and then build slowly from there and know where to stop, then, then that's kind of the balance of things. So looking back at this last week, I love the flowers down at the bottom. I think that turned out really well. I love the little check boxes. I am reflecting going, okay, these check boxes are mirrored here and I don't need that. So going into this next week, I won't do that. I don't necessarily need to have them here and here for the exact same thing. What I did add to the side here was I recently renewed my business license. So that's wherever you are existing and doing your business, you need to have a license in your city. And then I have an LLC, so I renewed that for the state. And it just depends where you are and what the rules are for everything. I've been in Washington State for a long time. Let's see, over 20 years. And so I just know Washington State. So it may be a little different for you wherever you are. But those are my key things that I have to renew every year. Now, in January, I have to file, for my city, actually, when I renewed it, I had to put in how much I've made in the past year from basically May to May. I just did it for the last 12 months because that's what they asked for. I've had my business move around the city. So I've registered in a couple different places and not all the cities ask that. But it was kind of nice to go, oh yeah, I remember doing that last year, so I'll do it again this year. The previous cities, as long as it's under a certain number, they don't care. Or sometimes they do ask how much your revenue is to see if you need to pay any taxes on that. And then there's with the state, seeing if there's any, let's see, I'm trying to think. The Department of Revenue for the whole state, I file by January 31st. So that's already been long done. But normally my renewals for business stuff come in June. And so it was nice to just get those taken care of mid-May here and move on. And then the only thing I didn't get to was the quarterly tracker back here. I was really wanting to come up with something here and nothing is really springing to mind yet. So I'm still pausing on that. It may be that I look back at May and fill things in or figure things out for June. I'm not going to put a ton of pressure on myself, but I don't like how this layout is working right now. It doesn't feel productive. So I'll come back to it. This feels very productive. So having the episodes here and then having the podcast titles are here. So you'll kind of see what is coming up in the podcast. Sometimes I rearrange things. So some of these might be pushed and I have a different topic. But I did go through and do some topics for the month. And I released the external productivity blocks this last Wednesday. And so the next one will be the internal ones. And then I'm working on the website still. I did some wireframes, which I'll show in a moment. And then the stats and the social numbers come at the end of the month. So I feel like this is working. It has like what I want to get done for the month and where my content is coming out. Again, not social media. That's not kicked up yet. What I did in the past was get way ahead on social media without the foundational business stuff. And so I put out a lot of social media posts that were half irrelevant or they were experimental and they were things to have fun with. But I feel like this last year, I've really put a solid foundation down and now I'm just slowly building on that. So when I do my social media, it's going to be like the icing on the cake. So that is how that went for this week. I'm trying to think of I'm just getting down to the bottom here. And then there was an invoice I needed to send out. And I am moving from HoneyBook, which I've used for a number of years. I think I've mentioned, used Dubsado before that just to kind of organize my coaching packages. But neither one were really kind of hitting it because coaching has so much scheduling involved and both of those are a little hard for that. At least HoneyBook is still kind of struggling with their scheduling. Excuse me. So what I realized then was when I do have some overages in my coaching, my current one, Paperbell, that I'm really enjoying, doesn't have a way to send like a quick invoice for like, hey, we went over time for a little bit and I just need to charge you a little bit for that. So I've been using Wave for all my accounting for, trying to think if it's been over a year. I think so. I think I'm like a year and a half into it. And yeah, because I might have started mid last year, the beginning of last year, but I went back to the beginning of the year, I think. I have to check that. Yeah, because all my numbers were there for taxes. So yeah, I did the whole year last year. Anyway, I hadn't tried out their invoicing. And so I was able to just quickly put an invoice together and it uses their processor instead of Stripe. Paperbell uses Stripe. And it came super fast. I was like, this is really nice. And I didn't have to like manually put in like whenever you make a transaction, they do the 3% plus, or sorry, 2 point whatever percent plus 30 cents. And then I would have to like manually put in the bank fees for that just for my accounting reasons. And this, because you're invoicing within it, it just pops them right in. So I was like, oh, that's nice. I just don't have to put in the fees in there because you can add up all the fees and that's tax deductible. So yeah, that was a nice little like cherry on top there of just figuring that out. So that's kind of how this last week went. My son was homesick on Wednesday. And then he had a field trip on Thursday. We weren't sure if he was going to make it to that, but he had just kind of a less than 24-hour kind of something. He ran a little fever on Tuesday night. Wednesday morning, it was gone. So by 24 hours later, he was fever-free and able to go back to school. And then he had a half day. Here, actually, I'll put. So I'm trying to put like things that are not in the norm here. Because it could affect my business stuff. And then I had, a couple of my sessions this week. My husband had a few things, and then our therapy sessions, just to kind of get a lay of the land, try to kind of go, okay, this is what's going on. And then I just filmed this one, and then now I'm filming this. Sorry, just filmed this one. So this one's done, but this particular one I'm filming right now will come out on Monday. So in my other planner, I have been carrying over the washi tapes from my personal planner to kind of give my whole week a theme. And so I think I'm going to just reuse these. And I'm just trying to decide between these two. Do I want little bunnies at the bottom, which I'm kind of leaning towards? And then I think I'll use this one in my health planner, which I just released. It's not a very exciting video, I have to say. And I have to say also, there isn't a whole lot of buzz about that one, nor does there have to be. I mainly wanted to put it out to kind of introduce it because health is like a huge part of what I have to track and do in my life. So wanted to share that. Let's see. Yeah. So I wanted to share like what I was tracking because I think it's important to kind of see what I was searching for was a Hobonichi Weeks layout that does track health things and kind of see what other people were doing. And I saw a little bit, and it's more typical health stuff. Like, if you want to lose weight and stuff like that, that's not what I'm particularly tracking at this point. So I have a lot of other much more important things to be tracking. Yeah, I like this. I like this because I'll see this in my other planner as well. So I'm just gonna kind of bare bones it, put my to-do list here, just put my, typical appointments in here. Actually, the one thing I didn't hear back from people, I think I said this a couple videos ago, was how you use these numbers. Does your 1 o'clock line up here or here? And let me get a little closer. And I know I've talked about this. For me, this is what I do for 2 o'clock because I want the 2 centered in the middle of that hour to say that's 2 o'clock. But it is a little fuzzy. It maybe looks like it starts at 1:30. I don't know. Most of my stuff is on the hour. So I can see how, like, you could say, okay, I have a 2 o'clock thing, so it goes from here to here and drop it down. You know what? I'm just going to try that this week. That's what I want to show you is like experiment, see what works. So I'm just going to try it because I feel like it is a little bit, like I like the 2 in the middle, but also when I do a 1:30, it gets confusing. Then my brain does get a little confused. So I'm going to try it. And we're going to see. I'm going to see. So starting at 5, going to 6. And then I have, I believe, let me check my other planner real quick. Oh, okay. So see, this is my other planner I just did. It has the little bunnies there, so it does match. And I like that. I have a okay, I'm dropping things now. I have a 10:15. Let me turn this on Wednesday. Okay, so this is where 10:15, which will probably last about an hour. And this is with my primary care person. So, no, I did it wrong. I did it wrong. That's probably when I need to leave. Okay. Yeah, I thought I might mess that up. I'm still kind of on the backwards way. Okay. So, 10:15 is here. And I see how, to me, when I'm stretching that actually makes a lot of sense. It's starting here. It's a little bit after. It's in between 10 and 10:30 and going to there. Okay. See, I'm trying something new. Sometimes you just have to try. And then my husband has a dental. And we might have a couple other things popping up midweek. And so when I say 1 o'clock here, I'm going to do this. And then 1 o'clock Friday. So instead of being, I think I put them on the dots last, yeah. I guess that would be still on the dot. Oh, it's fun to try something new and see if it works for you. Because on the dot here, yeah, it's still, okay. That works. Sorry, I have to tilt it again to do my sidebar here. So I'm continuing to work on the website. I'll show that in just a bit here. But let me copy these over. They're a little messy. To me, I'm kind of writing a little messy, but... Oh, so I'll put those down here. That's right. I almost just... just went for it. Podcast schedule. What did I mean by that? I know I put my... It's already in my month with my topics. So newsletter, I'm going to try to see if I'll do that this weekend. I'm really questioning that because if I do it this weekend, then I won't. Like it's just been getting too much. It's just too much right now. I'd rather put out some content, and then again, to me, like a newsletter is kind of like social media. I know it's more important because it's people who sign up, but it's to promote the content that you've done. And that's the same as social media. So I have to have the content done to promote it. And right now I'm getting some good traction without doing it. So to me, it's another level on top. I want to do the quarterly tracker, but I want to do it the week that we're in. So I hope that's not passed forward. So do I actually have anything else to write there? There is, like, currently I'm paying my credit card every week. So I think I'll start putting that here, my business credit card, for the little transactions that are coming through. So like right now there's like $12 on there. But I'm waiting till like the end of the week. Although, so I try to like get as close to zero as possible. Meaning sometimes those pendings can go into to cause a balance for the next month, which really annoys me. Because they'll be there pending and you can't pay it, and then they pop up on the next cycle. And I'm just like, I wanted to get that to zero. So I do have my deadline. I think it's due the 16th, but I think it closes on the 20th. It's, so by the 20th. So anyway, I'll just put CC for credit card. See if I can get that $12 wiped out of there. Although I have my business insurance. So the $12 was from Buzzsprout, which was my podcast hosting. I do use a paid one, not a free one, because I just love their interface. Some of the other ones were just so complicated to me, and this one made it so much easier. So I do pay for that. And then my business insurance will come through. So it's about $36. I have a couple domains renewing soon, so they're about $11 each. I keep my stuff really, really simple. Wave is free. But then I did talk about Paperbell was a big thing I invested in. You can get it introed at like $455 for the year, which is comparable to HoneyBook if you were to do it for the year. But next year when I re-up, it'll probably be more like $570 for the year. So that's something I take all my yearlies and divide them by 12, add them up, divide by 12, and then I know how much to put in savings for those. Just like I do for my personal. Let's see. Yeah, so last week I was able to cover, my insurance renew. Those were like $60 each. So, yeah, and then I guess I could look at the back here. Let's see. Actually, I have my revenue on one side, so I can't really show that. It was more my bills. I think that's all I'll say because I did take the covers off. These are just planner costs there, but I'll see if I can go over those next time. Maybe like a closing out of May for like business costs and things. Did I get any hardware? No. I got like this new stand here I'm using to film. That was, I thought April when I got that. So what else? Okay, let me put the things at the bottom. And then we're about there. I'm trying to follow the template that I did last time because I really like it. Like having one square over from the line. And then I'll have the name of the planner instead of saying personal. I actually call it Moxie Life. And here I can almost trace it. And that's the common planner. Plan with me. And then my podcast. Yeah, I have them in front. Okay, for some reason, I was thinking I had them at the end. And I'm not doing an extra one this week. I'm giving myself a break. It was kind of a squeeze to fit in the health planner. But I'm not going to be... I may touch base with that quarterly. It's not really a major thing I'm doing. But I do have to think about next week when... So Thursday is going to be the first of the month. So I could release something Wednesday. That's possible. So I do my reset videos and I try to look at it now to see like, well, what day would I film? I like to release extra things on Fridays, but I think this is Memorial Day weekend. So a lot of people are going to be gone. And I think it's just too early. So like if it was spaced out a little bit differently, I think people will be back and then wanting to reset here. So I would like to release the reset here. Let me see how many. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So here... And I don't like how I'm going a little long there, but that's okay. I'm going to do a reset video here, which means at the minimum, I have to like film it one of these days. But I wanted to get that on my calendar so that I wanted to see if in the past, I was filming anything on a Friday, so I would have filmed both my personal and my reset here so that I'm just ready for the next week. But I want to do it as close to the end of the month because it makes more sense to kind of recap. I know a lot of people film way in advance and it can be really confusing because they're like, well, I'm filming this on the 15th, but it's not the end of the month yet, but I'm going to do a reset. And I'm like, yeah. And you hit your date, but you don't have all the information yet. And that's okay. Their cycles may be from the 15th to the 15th, and it makes sense for them to look back at the month that way, and they're still looking at a month worth of information. But I just kind of like to do it by, okay, in May, what happened? So I like to just look a little ahead. This doesn't feel as grounding. I have to say, when I'm looking at this looks unfinished kind of compared to this. So, oh, because I need a sticker. That's why. I had this little sampler and I don't know exactly what this is, what these lines are. Are they supposed to be, to me, they look like mini blinds. Yeah, that's upside down. But I think they're like lines on a page. I don't know. It's kind of blue And I thought, well, you know, I can use it up and kind of put it in this corner. And am I going to put it on kind of wonky? Possibly. Let's see. Being very careful to bring this back up here. You can do it. Yeah, I have this need to line it up, so let's try. Let's just try. Yeah, I got just the tiniest amount of paper there. Yeah, it's not going to line up at all. So we're not going to try. Okay, my planning is done. No, it's fine. Was there anything else? I'm not knitting, so I don't need to knit. But I kind of like this other little flower. Let's see. Let's just use these up. Kind of make this a fun spread. Like that, like that, like that. Maybe like this. Maybe like that. There we go. I'll save the knitting for another time. Probably not my work planner. So that dresses it up a little bit. It feels a little bit better. I'll probably add some things here as the week progresses. Yeah, I'd like to make some more goals around that. Let's see. So let me see if I can find... Oh, I did start doing something. I did want to show you this. So I did show that I have like this at the beginning of every single month. I started indexing all of my like unused pages that I just used as notes that are kind of like important business notes. So like when I did my onboarding ideas, I put them on this date. And so I'm not looking at page number, I'm just looking at that date. And so I'm looking up here for that. And so I started doing that for May, and then I realized that I had written all over this. So I erased it and then started to index. So now I can go to May 6th and 7th to find those things there. Let's see. Yeah, I already talked about that. I was going to say, is there anything else? Yeah, I did do like the license renew earlier, but I hadn't really shown that in my weekly view. So there are some things I do have to protect a little bit. So, okay. So this is what I mean by wireframes. And what I'm doing is, I would do this for like my web clients is, you know, you draw a bunch of boxes, then you put on here what you want. And I have these for my old website, and now I'm kind of transferring them into the new one. And this is what I need to work on. Yeah, like I have a website up. It has content on there. There's a new one coming that has, it's better focused for my needs. And I have the content. It's just, where does it go? So that's kind of what I'm working on. And then in June, I'll have this index here. I'll know not to write here, and maybe I'll even draw a little line. We'll see. But I am using, like I didn't write in, what days this week? I wrote in barely anything on those. Yeah, like Sunday, Monday this week, I didn't write anything. So I'm going to use these for... I could use this for each page. Do some more website content organization on these. I'll see. So I'll get back to you on that. But otherwise, I'm just doing like a quick list for that day for like all my stuff. Because I don't have a daily, as I've mentioned. I just kind of like go, okay, what's top of mind? What do I need to do? And if I don't have my personal out here and following this, then I'm following whatever is in here. So I think that's it. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope this coming week is going to be a good week for you, and know that the end of the month is coming and that Memorial Day is coming. So, and if you have kids, school is ending, or if you're going to school, that's going to be wrapping up if it hasn't already. I know some kids are ending in May. It's a lot. It's a very busy time of year. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you next time. Oh, and let me know if you have any questions about anything. I'd love to answer them. Bye.